Wow. This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creatives to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I will ask is, what's next? Congratulations are in store for the University of Houston men's basketball team for advancing to the Final Four. It's our time. March is damn near over. Let's go.
Yo, it feel like 95.
Yes.
Sachi on my body.
Yes.
Biggie, jigger, puffy, all that ball in this.
Houston, Texas. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to the 109th edition of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. My name is John Ross Dike II. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike _visionary. Also, the What's Next pod. That's the What's Next pod _ on IG. If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com directly in front of you. I have all the t-shirts I sell on my podcast out the trunk of my car and on my website, and you can shop at stillvisionary.com/merch. Listen, man. Listen. Before March ends, before the first quarter ends, I needed to get out of my funk of not podcasting. And here I am, March the 29th. Happy birthday to my father-in-law. My wife's birthday was last week. Happy birthday to her. My homegirl C. Beasley, who was on episode 105, I think. 105. What is this, 109? After the storm, happy birthday to her. Her birthday is on the 31st of March. Happy birthday to my niece. Her birthday was in March. Happy birthday to my homeboy Josh, my best man Josh Arbelise. His birthday was on the 20th. Happy birthday to my boy Jeff Oriva Boy. His birthday was on the 18th. It's Aries season. Today is March the 29th. And we have 277 days left in a year. And, man, I got into a funk. After the I Passed episode, I dropped that on a Saturday. It did so well, I kind of was just like, I'll parlay it. I'll let it rock until it dies down. And I found myself scrambling to find the right fit because March was coming and I knew March is Women's History Month. I wanted to get women on here to talk about their journeys, see what they got going on, dig into their brains. And I found myself in the same spot I was when I started this podcast, January 2019, trying to find people to put in, to make it right, to make a mood, to set a mood, to kind of like build a storyline or just some kind of like theme. And let me sit back from the mic because I feel myself breathing on it. Pause. And then I just could not get people to commit. A lot of it was me, the scheduling, not giving people time, but I just felt myself saying, okay, I want to just felt myself tunnel vision, wanting to have people, women, let me say people, women on the podcast talking about their journeys, and it fell through. I found myself the same way I was January 2019, walking into Black History Month, or rather, starting that episode, the first episode, January 1st, 2019, and not dropping another episode until the last week of Black History Month. And I said, oh my God, not a great way to build consistency. So here I am again in 2021 doing the same thing. So I said to myself, listen, I said to myself, the show must go on. The show must go on, no matter what. The show must go on. And my podcast wasn't predicated on just, having the right people at a certain time. It was just whoever I felt was hot. Come on, let's sit and talk. So, I blew Women's History Month, and it kind of put me in a funk. So I was like, all right, I'll wait till next week to podcast. And then when I went to Austin with my wife, episode 108, Austin, we podcast. I came back. I said, okay, I'm back. I wasn't back. I still was off. So here I am, man. Trying to make sure that I can get going again. Because once you start something and then you stop, it's just you find every excuse not to do it. And I didn't want to be that. This is what I love to do. So I want to make sure that as a creative, I'm here and I'm fresh and I'm giving y'all something. You know, the show must go on. It has to. And so I'm here podcasting. I got like one story to tell. And, you know, I feel like it's you know, let me warm back up into it. You know, it's been a minute. I might be off a little bit. But I'm here. So welcome to episode 109. I hope everybody's well. You know, I was thinking about the Every Tuesday brand, and I even couldn't get that rocking. I mean, I'm trying to get it done on the embroidery machine, and it just keeps jamming, right? And so I said to myself, oh, this Every Tuesday thing, it takes a toll. After I passed the exam, you know, I'm into the softball season in the school year, and that is taking a toll on me too, because it's just like I have to be prepared. Something got to give. And what was given was the podcast. My wife came back home from working, travel nursing. So, you know, that luxury of being able to be up all night and locked in on one thing and, you know, grinding, that had to stop. It had to. I mean, your wife is back. You got to show her some tender love and affection. You know what I mean? And, it's just been, I'm kind of off right now, but I'm really just glad to be back because I've been wondering, when am I going to drop again? As if I don't have my own control of that. When am I going to drop again? Here's a plug. My homegirl, her name is Zen Ashe. She does a podcast called the Zenergy Podcast. And I did an episode with her called Take Control. Here's a snippet of it. That I'd like you to hear.
But that's all people saw. I wrote in a car. I was driving a Mitsubishi Lancer at the time. I rode in a car delivering pizzas. And I would get off the horn with my man. I would say, let me write this scene. I wrote the scene, and then he wrote his scene. And we merged together, came up with a backstory of how we were friends, because we were friends from middle school. And then we put it together, and it came out to be about 10 to 15 pages. And that was season 1 and 2, right? So then when you go to film, you can add in so much. You can add in B-roll. You can add in this clip, that clip. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on the page. You can kind of make up what you're missing to kind of fill out the project or the film or short film or whatever. But people don't see that it took us close to a year to write, come up with a topic, to come up with a theme. And if I was one of those artists that said, hey, I want to be.
Yeah, man, that was Take Control off the Zenergy Podcast. I featured on that podcast last year. And she dropped it this Monday. So check it out. Zenergy Podcast on Apple Podcast. It's all over. If you type in the Zenergy Podcast, it's all over. Listen, I am literally off today, but it's okay, because when you take off a long time, you got to get back practicing. You got to get back going, right? Habakkuk 2:2-3 says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You do what you do for yourself to prove you can do it for others. Even though the year of perfect vision needed corrective lenses, your vision was never out of focus. You remained still. You remained determined." Kobe said, The Mamba mentality is the attention to detail and the level of commitment. Run your race because you got time. Keep the momentum. Believe in your story, a creative story. Remember, never stay comfortable while trusting the process. Be innovative in your 720 hours. There will be stumbling blocks. You just keep pushing. Most importantly, what's next? Continue to drop.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Yeah, so in episode 1 of my podcast, I had said that I was a devout Christian. And, I've been thinking that I wanted to start the podcast off with a prayer. Because what I'm about to get into, I've struggled with for a while. So here it goes. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to have woken up this morning. And thank you for the opportunity to be laying down soon. I pray that you just bless me and my family. I pray that you bless me in this time period that I can move forward in podcasting. And just watch over me as I encounter everyday life. Help the world with this COVID bug and just continue to bless us all as a humanity. Pray for my family, the Farmers, the Dykes. There's the Tendus, the Norrises. And just continue to watch us all in your son's name we pray, amen. I said that I was a devout Christian in episode 1 of the podcast. And it actually derives from when I was talking to my wife in 2010. And we were, we were going through our relationship. We were courting each other. I was courting her, rather. And she said to me one time, she said, or maybe this might have been later on in the relationship. She said to me, I'll never marry a man that didn't tithe. I was like, Okay. And so at this point in time, I really, I came up and I never really was, a heavy church going. Like a lot of people remember stories from Bible school, but not me, because we went to church every time my mom was off. So when she worked Sundays, we wouldn't go to church. We'd go to McGregor Park and kind of play outside, run races with our father and stuff like that. But going to church consistently wasn't something that I did coming up. Then I got into college, and me, Phil, Mike, Ashley, Aisha, we would go to Fountain of Praise at first. And when I started acting, my homegirl, her name was Angie Perez, or is Angie Perez. She's married now. I invited her to do Grussel Diaries with me and Mario. And she said, JR, you and Mario would work well at a church named Hope City. So, when people talk, sometimes you don't really give it thought. You might think about it later, but getting a reaction out of you right then and there, sometimes you just like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, she's talking about the church, and she said, hey, you should really go to the church. I think that you guys will fit right in. So I remember going to Hope City around the time of Hope City at the movies. It's 2015. And I would let her come to see that I wanted to figure out a way to get better with cinematography at a rate that I didn't have to break the bank for, meaning I wanted it to be free. So, I'm going to Hope City, and at first I'm just attending. And I'm not really like, okay, well, I'm going to join this church. I'm just going, and I'm attending, seeing how it is. I like the flavor. Pastor Jeremy's got a new flavor. In fact, I wanted to adopt his flavor of preaching to how I taught the classroom. And, it was pretty cool. I remember going to, Growth Track. I remember going to Growth Track, and I met a kid named AJ there. And I said, hey, man, I really want to learn the cameras. So he pointed me to the stream team. Let me fast forward a little bit. Let me add this nugget in. I told my man Mario maybe about 2-3 months ago. Well, no, I'm lying. Maybe about a couple of weeks ago, I said to him, yo, this tithing thing, man, I don't know about it. I don't know about it. Because the thing with me is this. Sometimes I'll do something for so long, and then one day I'll just be like, I'm tired. And I don't want to say it was the same thing with podcasts, and I just want to say that that's how I get sometimes. So the month of March was one of those times where I'm tired. Something's got to give. So I run and duck. Tithing became one of those things because I didn't see a purpose. I didn't see no return. You know what I'm saying? Like, here I am dealing with these kids at work, and I'm going and I'm just dropping money into the church's plate, and there's no return. You know what I'm saying? And this is around the time period where baby D had passed, and I was just like, I leaned on the church hard, and I was just like, man, me and my wife are going through it right now. But I felt like at the time the church wasn't really like, they weren't talking to me. They weren't talking to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you go to church and you, depending on the church you go to or what you're into, you kind of look for people to like, yo, I see you going through, and here, this is how you get through it. But Hope City, the name is Hope. So they don't really they give you hope, but they don't really it's all optimistic. And sometimes it's reality. There's pessimism. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like, yo, everything can be, like, I just put my kid in the ground. So, I mean, I would go to church and I would lean on the church, and I'd be in church serving. I'd be in church crying, trying to figure this thing out because, you know, they say death ain't for the person who died. Death is for you. But for me, I thought it was punishment. I was like, yo, I get married, I do it right. We have a kid, and then boom, he passes. So I'm like, oh man, yo, I don't know. So I tell my man Mario, I said, listen, I'm not giving a dime to the church. I'm not giving a dime to the church because I don't feel like I'm seen there. I don't feel like I'm appreciated. I just don't feel it. Like, nah, I'm not giving a dime to the church. God bless. I'm not doing it until I see a sign. Until I see a sign, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? And my man was like, nah, fam, you need to go ahead and gotta believe. I told kids the same thing. She said, hey, have you been tithing? I said, no, I have not. And I said, I'm not going to because right now I'm not locked in. I'm not feeling it. But guess what? I'm still going every Sunday serving. And when I can't go, I'm just like, oh, well, I won't go. But when I do go, I'm going heavily. And I'm telling my man, I'm like, yo, oh man, I'm not going to tithe until I feel the Lord speak to me. Until I feel the Lord speak to me. And one Sunday, it came like this.
That's the dolly cam right there. Look back there. That's called a dolly cam. Can you put it on the dolly cam for just a minute? Is it on the dolly cam? I don't know if it's, that's the dolly cam right there. Look at that. He's moving it real slow.
That's me.
Look at that. He's doing a good job.
You know, appreciation. Appreciated. Unappreciated is how I felt. Because a lot of it was selfish, but a lot of it too is I'm dedicated, but I'm not seen. I'm dedicated, but I'm not heard. I'm dedicated, but I'm not discovered. And I said, you know what, Lord, you're going to have to talk to me. Because I'm going to serve, but in terms of like going in my pocket to feed into the kingdom financially, nah, I ain't doing it. I'm not. And I didn't care. Just be honest, man. Because let's be honest, a lot of people are Christians, but they don't do what they say they do as a Christian. They don't serve. They don't go to church. They don't tithe. And I'm not saying that you got to do all those things, but that is the basis of Christianity: serving, speaking the gospel, reading the gospel, believing, tithing. I believe, I served. I don't read. And I wasn't tithing. And I said to the Lord, I said to my man, I said to kids, I said to Mario, I said, I'm not tithing until the Lord talk to me, until I get some form of appreciation. Until I'm appreciated, I'm not serving.
Look back there. That's called a dolly cam. Can you put it on the dolly cam for just a minute? Is it on the dolly cam? I don't know if it's, that's the dolly cam right there. Look at that. He's moving it real slow. Look at that. He's doing a good job.
Shout out to my wife. She was there that day. She stood up and clapped. Shout out to my man Mario Wanza, who never gave up on me and told me, you need to be tithing. Shout out to Angie Perez, who kind of put Hope City in my heart. You know what I mean? Here I am, man. And after that, I felt like when the Lord spoke to me, I walked out and I said, Lord, here it is. Thank you for blessing me. And I just dropped my tithes in the bucket. So once you start, you got to continue on. Because I felt like the Lord was talking to me. He was like, JR, I hear you. And I'm going to show you something. Here it is. And financially, just the opportunities I've been getting since then. And it might sound crazy. Not crazy, but it might sound like, JR, you bugging, yada, yada, yada. But truth be told, God bless me. Because, I was just like, I'm just going through my daily routine. I'm like, something is missing, but I don't know what it is. And I don't care. I'm just going to keep rocking and doing what I do. Houston, Texas, man, you already know what time it is. I had to do something. I know this episode was all over the place. I know that I didn't have a clear direction and that I was off, but I had to come and kind of podcast, no matter the length of time, to kind of just, it was a bad episode. I know it was, but the show must go on. I'm back to podcasting every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the song that's on my mind is Fred Hammond, Living Word. Living Word is on my mind. Nas. You're the man. It's always a good record. Nas, You're the Man, and Nas, Undying Love. It's on my mind. So, what's next for me? What's next? WHATS space NEXT exclamation apostrophe. What is next for me is getting back to the routine of podcasting every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And no exceptions. Putting a better schedule together and bringing the dopest people, in my opinion, on the podcast to talk about their journeys. Houston, Texas. It was a rough episode, I know. I'm back, though. Every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I I made it to the gym. I missed every shot, but at least I made it to the gym. I do what I do for myself to prove that I could do it for others. This is the end of the first quarter and the start of the second quarter. I'll see you next week. Peace and blessings.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy, that ball is a hottie. And wildin' in my wallet. More way, get you more way. Nah, that's this be my team. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guy. The Willie nigga. Who buy them bottles and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dog. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it wasn't rain when you get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. No breath on private party. You gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over and done. Overdose. Guess we did it again. Sipping with no